he had a scam, Ponzi scheme going on. And then we got these people who have these managed Forex accounts who are telling you you're going to make 20 or 30%, which is impossible. Impossible. I mean, it's impossible to make over 10% a year every year. Believe me, I've been there. I mean, long-term investing through all of the garbage in the last, say, since the Second World War, the average return is like 7.2%. So come on. You don't want to do those things. It's just like when someone says, well, I've got this bond here, and it's backed up by this, and the yield's 7.2%. It's 7.2% because it's very, very risky, and you don't chase the yield. You never, ever do that. And corporate bonds right now, and any bonds denominated in U.S. paper is a guaranteed loser, just like the stock market. You think that was very opinionated?
Well, let's give your opinion on this next question. The European Commission has taken disciplinary steps to tackle swelling budget deficits in France, Greece, Spain, Ireland, Latvia, Malta, who had breached the EU rules by allowing their budget deficits to exceed 3% of GDP in 2008. Why is the U.S. federal government not using the same tactics with states that run a high deficit?
Well, the tactic is a subterfuge. They are not going to do anything about anything. End of story. So, they're all working together. I mean, you saw a G20 meeting a couple of months ago. We're all going to zero interest rates, and we're all going to flood the world with money and credit. Is it any plainer to you than that? Who was at the meeting? The European Central Bank. The European Union. Come on. It's BS. Misdirection, misinformation, propaganda. Forget it. They don't care. They want the system to come down so they can enslave us. And the word's getting around the world, too, I'll tell you. These programs that I'm on are reaching hundreds of millions of people. And, in foreign countries today, in Europe, I would say perhaps 85 to 90% of the people speak English. And in Asia, probably 25 to 30%, maybe it's higher. In Latin America, probably about the same percentage. So people are listening to these broadcasts, and they're reaching out. And I know they are because they write to me, and they subscribe to the publication. My hardest job is getting paid. They all want to send a check, and the bank doesn't want the checks. It's a funny story. But anyway, hopefully they can use Visa or MasterCard. But we are doing a good job. We are saving a lot of people, a lot of grief. We're going to keep right on doing it.
According to the BBC, UK, Germany, and Sweden have reacted coolly to calls for $6 billion of aid from the U.S. car giant General Motors. Are these car manufacturing trying to sip on two bottles at the same time?
And what do you mean by that?
What do you mean?
Rephrase that question. I couldn't quite understand it.
According to BBC, UK, Germany, and Sweden have reacted coolly to calls for $6 billion of aid from General Motors. Are these car manufacturers trying to, trying to suck on two bottles at the same time?
Look, they're broke. Okay? The government side of it says, look, they're broke. If we don't help them, millions of people are going to be out of work, or at least thousands in each country. And that's a whole chain. It's not only the car builders, it's all the suppliers and the people who bring the food and all that stuff. France, Sarkozy came out today. He's providing, $10 billion or something like that to the automobile industry in France. If everybody lets their automobile industries go under, there's no automobiles ever going to be made again. So they've decided, like for General Motors and Chrysler in America, and now Sarkozy in France, and Japan is subsidizing, so is in South Korea, and it's going to be all over the world. It's the only way they can keep them in business. And the planned obsolescence of manufacturing in the United States and Western Europe and Canada, and Mexico for that matter, has been planned. They want to destroy those industries because they want to keep them in the lowest wage country through free trade, globalization, offshoring, and outsourcing. And so they're going to give them money, but most of them are going to go under. And they think that after all is said and done, all the cars in the world in the future will be made in China, India. That's what they're up to. It ain't going to work. Too many people now know what they're doing. They understand. But you know, myself and Paul Craig Roberts, I think, are the only two who talk about this. There's nobody else does. Well, Lou Dobbs does, but, you know, he's a television journalist, and we're newsletter writers.
And we're heading to break.
I mean, these people should be salivating.
And thank you for joining us this afternoon. You're listening to Financial Survival, and of course, this program is brought to you by Discount Gold and Silver. For all your gold and silver coin needs, give us a call. And also for your complimentary issue, give us a call on our 800 number, 1-800-375-4188. And Bob, would you like to tell us about the International Forecaster, please?
The forecast is about business, finance, economic, social, political issues all over the world. We publish by email on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Runs around 35 pages each time. We have a hard copy that goes out twice a month for those who are not on the Internet. And if you'd like to visit our site, that address is the internationalforecaster.com. The International, FORECASTER.com. If you want to email us because you have a question, that address is international_forecaster at yahoo.com. International_forecaster at yahoo.com.
800-375-4188 for your complimentary issue to the International Forecaster. And you could earn a free subscription if you pick up some of these $20 gold pieces. Bob and I were talking during the break and comparing what I just happen to have a price sheet. I always keep it with me. No particular reason. It's just I pulled one out and just keep it with my prices back to November 1st of 2007. And spot gold was $790 at that point. So, Bob, we basically have a $200 increase in gold. And the 64 cents, based on wholesale prices, they're up $725. You have 65 cents that are up $820. And even comparing the 61 coins, they're all up $600 and $700. Even the $10 liberties, if you compare them and you take two coins to equal the same amount of gold as in the 20, you're looking at $600 and $700 increases. So with a $200 move in gold. And I remember every time gold moved, and maybe the coins were a little sluggish, that's all you heard. All you heard was the bad rap about the $20 gold pieces. And you don't want them, you want to trade out, you want to buy something else, and buy this and buy that. But yet in the long run, and if you were patient and purchased them when you should have, you've done extremely well and will continue to do extremely well. So I don't think we've seen anything yet. I'm even surprised at the amount in which they are moving. I knew they would move, but the general populace has yet to come into the market, Bob. So wait till they get in. Wait till all these yuppies get into the market, these doctors and lawyers, and you have more and more CNBC programs talking about flight to safety. And so we ain't seen nothing yet, right, Bob?
Right. And, you know, we started talking about, from the very first day I was on the show, 5 years ago, of buying numismatic coins, and I told you, in the end, they will be the great performers, because There's only so many of them. And then I cited the move from $500 to $5,000 for today's equivalent MS-64. And that was in 78 to 81. And this time it's going to be giant. I mean, you're looking at these coins at $10,000. And I got people I talked to today that bought them at $700. I bought my first one in 1960 for $47. Still got it. I guess you'd have to call it a slider now, but anyway. And incidentally, all those people who got you to buy those numismatic coins that were not graded, they're selling at bullion prices. And why did brokers get you into them? Because they wanted to mark them up 20 or 30%. When you go to sell them, they'll hit you on the back end for 20%.